Hello, today we're going to learn Git and how to use Git. Okay, first let's go to git-sam.com. This is the official website for Git, which is a free and open source distributed version control system designed to handle small and large projects with speed and efficacy. You can download Git for your system. It is available for Linux operating system, Windows and OS X. So we go and click download for Linux. So I'm using a Debian system, so I'll be typing apt-get install git. Okay, let's go to the terminal and try to install Linux. Alright, I am in my documents folder here, so I'm going to type sudo apt install git and type my password. Okay, it says Git is already a newest version, so I can check the version of Git by typing git dash version, and it says it's 2.11.0. We can also type git and dash help for getting help related to Git. So these are all the commands which are available under Git. There are maybe thousands and thousands of commands, so we are going to use the most basic Git commands in this tutorial. So to understand Git, so let's have a look at how Git works. So Git is basically a version control system, so it is going to take a screenshot a snapshot of your working directory and save it in the Git repository. So that is called as a local repository, which is going to have a snapshot of your files and folders along a axis of time. Okay, so Git is got a working directory where you will be keeping your files and folders, and that is visible to you, and it has also got a invisible folder called as a .git repository, which is invisible on all the configuration, and the snapshots happen in this invisible folder. And there is also a area called as a staging area, which is in between the working directory and the Git repository. So let's go to our terminal and create a Git repository. Alright, let's clear the terminal. So before we start a repository, so we need to make a project directory. Let's make a project directory saying as my project. Okay, now let's get into our my project directory, and here we don't have any files or folders, so we need to make a repository inside this folder. So how do we do that? So for that we're going to use a command called as a git init. So this initializes the Git repository. So when you type git init, it's going to run Git software, and it is going to create a empty Git repository under this path. So as we mentioned, so it has created a invisible .git repository, which we discussed in here. So you have a working directory and you have a Git repository now. So Git works by adding your files and folders into the Git repository. So let's look at how it works. So first what you do is you create a file in your working directory. So let's add one file or two files in a working directory as file1 and file2. So we can create file1 dot markdown. So next we can create another file called file2 dot markdown. Alright, so I am using my terminal, which is a ZSH terminal, and it is going to tell me a little bit more information about Git. So this is useful for understanding the Git. So it is showing in my terminal that this is a Git repository and I am on a master branch. So we will discuss what is a master branch later. And I have added file number 1 and I have added file number 2. So we can add one more file and it is going to tell me that I have added 3 files. So let's go here and add one more file. So this will be file 1, file 2 and file 3. So all these files are in the working directory. Okay, now if I type ls, so I got 3 files, but I can't see the Git repository. So let's check ls minus la and see what is inside this invisible Git repository. So let's get into .git repository, and if I make ls here, so .git repository has got various configuration files here and folders. So it has got something called a head, branches, config, description, hooks, info, object and ref. We can also see the internal sub branches inside. Like for example, if I run a tree command, so I'll see that it has got head, branches, config, hooks, objects, refs, heads, tags. So this is where Git is going to save all the snapshots of our files and folders on a time axis. So we don't need to get into .git repository. This is just to assume that everything happens inside this. So let's just use common Git repositories. So now we know that we have 2 files here. Alright, let's go back to our Git folder. So this is our Git folder. Alright, now we are in my project Git folder and we have got 3 files. Okay, so from now, so what we do is after you do init git init, so we need to add our file 1, file 2, file 3 to the staging area. So this is called as a staging area where you send all your files to the staging area. Okay, so what you do is, so from here, so the files go from here to staging area. So we can add individual files to the staging area, or we can add all of our files to the staging area. So let's add one file to the staging area. Alright, so for that we're going to use a command called as a git add. So after typing git add, we need to give our file name. So let's add file1.md to our staging area. So file1.md now is added to staging area. So in here it is showing that I have added one file to the staging area. So now I am in here. So I can also add another file into the staging area. So that is, now I can add git add file to.md. So and hit enter. Now the second file is also added to the staging area. So now we have 2 into the staging area. We can also add, like if you have many files, like if you have uh, touch file 4.md, file 5.md, file 6.md. Now if I ls, so now I have got 6 files. So we can add all of them using a command called as a git add, and we can type dash, that means everything which is in the current folder, or we can add git all. So let's add git add dash git add and the dot. So now it will add all the 6 files into our staging area. So now you can see we got 6 files in our staging area. Alright, and there are no files which are unstaged. So all our files now will be here. So we need to make 6 files here for representation, and we will be having 6 files in the staging area. Okay, so we use git add command to add from working directory to the staging area, and this is where you stage. So you don't need to stage all the files and folders which are in your working directory. You can add whichever file or folder that you want to the staging area. So once you add them to the staging area, you need to use a command called as a git commit to commit to your git repository. So this is where you will take a snapshot in time of all your commits. So that process is called as a committing. Okay, for this what we do is we are going to use a command called as a git commit -m, that means a message, and we give a message. So I can say add file 1 to file 6. You can also say first commit, and you hit enter. So you can see here it gives some information about our first commit. So it says we are on a master branch, and this is the root commit. That means it is your first commit which is there on this master branch, and this is the hash, which is a unique number given to this commit, and it says added file 1 to file 6 first commit. That is your message, and it is also saying that you added 6 files and 0 insertion and 0 deletions. That means we only made files, we didn't add any of the information into the files. So now we know if we just say ls, so it has given us 6 files and all of them are here, and we made our first repository, and this is called as commit. So this is our first commit. Alright, so you can say this as a commit 1, and we are given the name as add file to file 6 first commit. Okay, let's clear the screen. Alright, we have our first commit, so we can check that by using a command called as a git log. So git log gives us all the log about our first commit. So our first commit was add file 1 to file 6 first commit, and that has got a commit ID which is a unique number, and the author name and the email ID and the date of commit. So this is the information of our first commit. So now let's edit one more file. Okay, let's edit the file 1.md and we can add a line. So let's add a line. So I'm using Vimeo. You can use any of the editor that you like. So I say the first line, second line, and I'm going to close this. So the moment I made changes, so it is saying that so there are some changes made to my first file. Similarly, I can do some changes to file2.md. Here I say this is a demo git project, and I'm going to close that. So now it says there are two changes in this one. So let's make another file changes. So that will be for the file 3, and here I say heading 1, heading 2, and heading 3. I just save this. So we made changes to 3 files. So it is saying that there are 3 changes which are made. So we can check that by using a command called as a git status. So git status tells us what are the changes that are done to the files, and it is going to tell us where are we. So he's saying we are on the master branch, and it says changes not staged. They are still in the working directory. We are not yet staged the changes made to file 1 and file 2 and file 3. So we need to stage them by using command git add. Okay, and also it is explanatory here. So it says changes not staged for the commit. You can use git add and the file name to update what will be committed. So we can use this command. And also it is telling us that you can also use git checkout -- file name to discard the changes if you don't want. We can use that command later. Let's add git add and see what happens. So let me add git add, and I want all the 3 changes to be sent to the staging area. So I'm going to use git add dot, and now you can see they are added. So now all of them are gone from working directory to the staging area. So once we stage them, you need to send them to Git repository by using git commit. So before that, let us clear the screen and look at the status. So now if I run git status, so now it is saying that changes to be committed. That means you already staged them, and you need to commit them. So we can use that by using git commit -m and the message made changes to file 1 through file 3. Alright, so now I'm going to hit enter. So now it says you are on the master and 3 files changed and 9 insertions total. So that means I think we made 3 year, 3 year, 3 year. There are 9 insertions and 3 changed. Now, see now, so that is our first commit. So now we also have our second commit. So this will be our commit 2. So now if I run git status, it says nothing to commit, working tree is clean. So this is the most common way that you add your files and folders to the Git repository. So first you make changes in the working directory. Once you made the changes, then you add them to the staging area. So once you stage them, so you use git commit with a message to the Git repository. So you keep on doing this as and when you make appropriate changes to your files and folders. So that takes a screenshot, sorry, a snapshot of your repositories here in the Git repositories. So it can have as many repositories as you like inside. Okay, now it has got C2. So similarly we can make commit 3, commit 4, and it goes on and on. So let's try to edit one more file. So this time we're going to delete some lines. Okay, let's delete the first line and then add third line as second line, and we're gonna add a heading, and we're gonna save this. Similarly, we make a change to file2.md. So here we're gonna add heading 1, heading 2, and save this. So we made some changes, we added and we deleted something. So now if I run git status, so it says there are some changes to file 1 and file 2. So if you want them to be added to the staging area, you can add by using git add and the file 1 or file 2 name. Or if you don't want changes that you made for the file 1 and file 2, you can use this command called as git checkout dash dash file 1.md. Okay, it is git checkout dash dash. So now it says file 1 and file 2 are modified. So let's open file 1 and see what has changed here. Okay, so that is still there. So if I do git status, says files are modified. So I can do git checkout dash dash dot, and now if I check git status, so the changes are discarded. So now if I open file 1.md, so the changes that we made are gone. So what has happened here is we staged them, and after we staged, we used git checkout to bring back modification to the original status by using git checkout. Okay, so as you know, you can use git add to add all the files to your staging area, and you can use git checkout dash dash dot to discard all the changes. Okay, so let's now look at git log. So when we do git log, so now we got two changes made at 12:45 and 12:38, and both of them have got unique ID. So using these unique IDs, you can look at some of the information which is available over there. Okay, another concept that we need to understand in Git is called as branching. So branching is a method of creating an independent working environment where you can make modification without affecting the main branch or a master branch. Like we have a branch called as a master. To make a new branch, we are going to use uh, a command called as a git branch and name of the branch that you want. So I can call git branch feature, and so now it has created a feature branch. So we can check that by using git branch, and it is showing us two branches are available and with an asterisk sign. That means we are on a master branch. So I can create another branch called DIY. So now I can use git branch, and there are three branches available. So we are on a master branch now. If I want to get into feature branch, I go to use git checkout and feature. So now it says switch to branch feature. So now I am on a feature branch. Now if I want to go into DIY branch, I can use git checkout DIY. So now I am in DIY branch. Okay, you can also use a command called as a git checkout only dash. So that will take me to the previous branch that I was on. So now I should go back to my feature branch. Again, if I use git branch dash, so it should take me back to my DIY branch. Sorry, that's git checkout dash. So it should now take me to the DIY branch. Alright, let's clear this. Okay, let's imagine we are on our now feature branch. So for that we do git checkout and the name of the branch feature. So we are in feature branch. So we can look at the status and the feature branch. So nothing to commit because we made a fresh branch from our master branch. So, and we should be having 6 files. Alright, let's imagine I am going to do some changes to file3.md. Alright, it's called vim file3.md. Alright, so now let me add some information to heading 1. So heading 1 is, this is a heading. Alright, then we say this is a second heading. So we made these changes to file3. So now if I do git status, it says some modified changes to file3md, and if I say git log, there are 2 commits here. So let's add file3 to the staging area. Then we use git commit -m and give a message to this commit. Okay, add heading to file3 and hit enter. So now if I say git log, so there are 3 commits, one here, one to second, and the third. Okay, let's clear the message. Alright, from here, so you can go on modifying changes to your files. Like for example, Vim, maybe I want to make changes to file6.md. Okay, add heading, some changes here, and then we have some changes in the staging area. I add all the changes to staging, then I say git commit -m and made changes to file6.md. Alright, I need to close. Okay, now if I do git log, so now I got 5 commits. Alright, so now let us merge the changes which are made in the feature branch to the master branch. So that is called as a merging. So now for that we need to check out to our master branch. So we are on our master branch from the feature, and if I say git status, it says nothing to commit, and git log gives us only 2 commit messages, whereas in git feature we have 4. So let's try to bring in the changes that were made in git in the branch feature into our master branch. So for that we need to be on the branch that you are going to be merging from other branch. So now we are on a master branch and we need to merge the feature branches changes into master. So for that we're going to use a command called git merge and the name of the branch. So here it will be git merge and the feature. So now if I enter, then it says updated, and there it has done something called as a fast forward merging. So it has brought in changes made from file 3. So we added some and we deleted some, and we added some changes to file 6. So it says 2 files change, 5 insertion and 2 deletions. If I now make ls, the files are still there, but if I open file 6.md, so we should get the changes that were made in the feature branch. Okay, so we adding some changes here, and if I look at file 1.md, then we removed some things and we added some here, so that changes has come here. Okay, now if I do git status, it says nothing to commit. If I say git log, so we have 1, 2 and 3 and 4. Initially we had only 2 commits, now we got 4. These 2 were merged from the feature branch. So that's how you do git branching and git merge. So now let's look at git log. So how can you look at your log of your git repository? So for that, you can use git log, but git log gives us a lot of unnecessary information. So we can use some more commands inside git log. So for that we type git log -- and help, and that is going to give us information related to git log and other subcommands. So git log shows commit logs, and it has got a lot of sub commands available here. So you can look at them and check how to use them. But I'm going to show you here some of the most commonest git log commands. So that will be, git log. So we can use git log -n is a number of commits. So if I say git log 1, so it will only give me one commit, the most recent one. If I say git log 2, it's going to give me the most recent commit. So similarly, I can use git log minus minus since 1 day ago. So we can also use other git log commands, like for example git log since how many days. Maybe I can say 1 day ago, and it is going to give me all the git logs since 1 day. Similarly, I can use it for 7 days, since I got only few hours of git commits, so I'll get the same logs. Similarly, you can use something called as a git log until yesterday. So we don't have anything till yesterday, so it will be empty. So other command you can use is git log -p. So this is going to show us not only the git logs, but all the changes that are made to the files. Like for example, file 6, we added heading and the space, some changes here. Then we made changes to file 3, first line, second line, like that. So another most common one is, like for example, git log gives us a lot of information here. So we can use git log one line, and it's going to give us all the commits in one line with the commit hash and the name of the commit. So we can also use git log -- one line and -- pretty. So this is going to show the commits like this. And another one will be git log one line pretty -- and decorate. So decorate is also showing us that this is where our DIY branch was, and currently we are at head, which is showing to master and feature. In the subsequent videos, we're going to talk about what is ahead. Alright, so then we also have another command which is called as a subcommand called as a graph. So this one, git log one line, make it pretty and also decorate and show the graphical format. So it is going to show us that all these things are connected here. So the other commands that you can use are git log -- author and the name of the author. So here the name of the author is your name, and it is going to give me all the commits from that particular author. So I have only one author here, so I get the commits that I made today. See, you can add your name and check it out. Then we can also use another git log command called as committer and the name of the committer. So I can say the name of the committer is Linus. So it's going to give us all the commits made by Linus. So that's one of the most commonly used commit log messages. We can also use something called as a git log reverse. So this is going to give us the log in the reverse format from the first form commit to the last commit. Okay, so these are some of the git commands. Thank you very much.